Yeah, this is PremRock.
This is Curly Castro.
You're ShrapKnel.
Oh, we are ShrapKnel.
Yeah.
And you are listening to the Cabbages?
Cabbages.
It's not Collards? Not Collards?
No, it's
Cabbages.
Cabbages
Podcast.
Where bad movies live forever.
Forever, ever?
Forever, ever.
Shit.
Gary, I'm excited. I'm singing because I'm excited.
You're excited? Gary. What are you excited about?
I am excited about the All-Stars lineup.
CABBAGES All-Stars.
I am excited about our continued friendship. I'm ignoring what you just did and am excited that we watched Double Team, that I could welcome you into the legions of people who have now seen that film. I'm happy to say it, that you have now seen Double Team. I love this ridiculous film.
Well, I'm glad one of us is happy. And I think that's,
I hate
that's the nature of the
Gary.
beast. But that's the nature of the beast.
Maybe by the end of this thing, you'll change your mind.
We'll see. I mean, it was definitely a unique experience.
It is a unique experience. And you laughed a lot, didn't you?
Oh, I laughed. Yeah, I laughed.
Yeah.
I had one too many edibles for my first viewing of this film.
Probably best.
And I had maniacal laughter by the end, just cackling.
Yeah,
pure
absolutely.
Cackling.
It takes every risk you can take.
There's so much to unpack with this movie. We've got amazing guests, and I think it's probably a good.
Let's talk about the
what
guests
we're doing
here. Yeah.
Let's talk about why we're doing this. So we've basically reached the kind of mid-season finale of our rapper movie season, and we were in a good place. We felt like we did 13 episodes of that, and we covered a lot of interesting films. There's so many more we could do. We're definitely talking about coming back for the second half of that season. But
cool as ice.
In the meantime, we decided to bring back some of our favorite guests from all of our previous seasons, pair them up, and have them watch a movie of our choosing.
Likely and unlikely pairs of wonderful individuals who are willing to go through the Cabbages meat grinder one more time.
One more time. The abuse people are willing to take for us is extraordinary. But I think that our assumption that people are generally having a good time when they're on this show helps. I also think it helps that we are genuinely nice to them in public when we do see them, or see them on their
feel like
shows
we have to be
online.
I don't want it to be thought that I'm only doing it because I have to. These are nice,
no.
really kind humans for doing what they're doing.
No, we're fucking saints.
Double
I'm saying is that we picked for the first episode. We asked ShrapKnel, PremRock, and Curly Castro, who have both been on individually for different episodes. We asked them to come on and help us kick this off. We had Jeff pick this movie for our first round, which is very exciting. And he chose a Jean-Claude Van Damme film. And this is one that I'd never seen before. So we're going to dive into a
Double Team,
a very strange film, a very wild film. And it is befitting as the opening film for our All-Stars mini-season.
All-Stars!
Welcome to CABBAGES All-Stars. I'm very excited to introduce our guests for today's show. Joining us now are Curly Castro and PremRock, together known as the duo ShrapKnel. They're about to embark on a fall tour with Rich Jones, but before they leave, we had to bring them on for our first ever CABBAGES All-Stars episode to discuss Double Team, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman. Hello and welcome to the show.
What up, guys?
Yo,
What's happening? Peace.
Good to be back.
is it good?
It's it's lukewarm to be.
Okay, we should talk a little bit about what's happening here. So,
Are you about to issue an apology, Jeff? Is that what's about to happen?
absolutely not.
Okay, just wanted to check.
I've apologized in person to Prem.
A million times.
I have to Prem for the last thing that we made Prem watch was truly one of the most abominable, just an abomination. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Really
yeah,
bad.
it was.
It's really
Bongwater truly is one of the worst films ever made.
I think Bongwater is now actually streaming somewhere, so you can go back and watch it. I did see that it actually.
You can
is
go
on
back and
something.
watch it. I'm good.
Yeah. He says as he's about to hit the bomb. There we go.
fucking Bongwater. Wow.
Well done.
Yeah. That was a tough watch for a lot of different reasons. But I came back like the masochist that I am, ready for more.
We sort of have internally decided that was the second worst movie we've watched on this pod.
True.
So you got some of the worst of it. And then
We did.
Castro, we had you on not too long ago for another complicated film,
Ghost of Mars.
Ghosts of Mars, and
Not,
which is
not even in the top 10, I bet. Of
That
the
Ice
worst
Cube?
movies.
Yeah, the Ice Cube joint. Yeah,
John Carpenter direct.
the
Ice Cube and
the
Natasha
masterful
Henstridge.
2 sets. There's only like 2 sets for the whole movie.
Two sets.
of the whole film.
Yeah.
And they were both painted red.
Train
the
and not train.
train and not train.
Yes.
And then there was this outside. The outside set was pretty impressive. This was they thought would be outside of Mars, just red. And everybody
It's just
ran.
red.
Well, Cube running down a corridor, double fisting Uzis, shooting at
Yeah.
mutants.
It
Train,
really
yeah,
rips,
Gary's
actually.
definitely right. Train and not train. That's the
That's it.
whole
That's-
movie.
So
Wait to get
let
to-
me ask you this:
Mm.
step up or step down with Double Team for either one of you? Either one of you.
It's a step up for sure.
Okay.
It's a step up in the sense that Double Team is it's so audacious. The Jean-Claude Van Damme legs clause, where he
Yes.
has to do something with his legs every movie.
Yeah.
And it's just it's audacious. I'm like, what is happening?
I described it to Gary as here's a little something for the ladies. It's just him like stretching his legs and pulling himself up from things. We can jump right in and talk about the workout scenes because they are
Implausible.
I can't think of another
it was
workout scene that
so-
was that insane.
So he's very MacGyver
Yeah,
in this movie.
Yes.
He's
but
very
only for working out.
well,
Yeah.
no, and also escaping the what they call the colony, the colony.
Colony.
where they kidnap terrorists and other freedom fighters and force them to work on other terrorists. I totally forgot that this was part of this movie.
Mhm.
Because
Not only is it part of the movie, it was actually just supposed to be like the whole movie.
he wakes
Okay,
up.
originally that was supposed to be
That
the-
was they
The original
rewrote that
script.
script a bunch of times. So the original script was called The Colony. It
Mm.
focused on the colony and his
Oh,
escape
yeah.
from the colony, which is why you get this like calendar shot where he puts up three, three months worth of calendar
the
that he
birthday.
printed from a printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dot matrix
Oh
somewhere.
wait, we're going too fast.
Wouldn't that
just
have made
go-
a
let's-
better?
Let's
Wouldn't
go
that have
back
made
to
a
the
better-
opening scene because I there's a really
Please.
key part of this.
Ooh, great.
So he
Let's
takes
begin.
some front loader tank truck or whatever,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
because this is the main thing about the movie. That's the big problem throughout the whole movie.
Mhm.
Who is fighting who? Like
Mm.
sometimes
Yeah,
you can't tell. Are they with Van Damme? And then they're going after Salvos, and then Salvos is shooting them. Everybody's wearing civilian clothing. Nobody has any discernible color affiliations on either side. Camo on one side, vest on the other. And
Nope.
there was points in
Regular
which
ass
I'm like,
clothes.
Yeah.
who is he fighting? Who is he against? So in the beginning of the movie, he gets this tank thing. He just drives it everywhere. But there are people shooting at them. But some of them look like law enforcement. And later on in the movie, they mention the Mossad is there. Then this chase in the beginning is so perfect because it has no bearing on anything. As soon as the chase is over, 3 years later, they jump into. I'm like, why did we just?
The only thing that matters, there's a throwaway line where a guy walks out from behind a desk in a room full of people that work at this place and probably know the score. And he says, if he can get across the border, then his retirement papers come through.
Mm.
That
I
was
totally didn't even
truly the
understand
only
that.
thing of
And
importance.
then Van
is
Damme
that
doesn't
if
say
Van Damme
anything.
gets out of there, he gets to retire.
And
He
they're
has
in
no line.
Smash
Croatia.
cut.
And he's
Croatia,
supposed
right?
to be taking some
Croatia.
item or something. I can't.
It's
was a
supposed
lot
to
to
be non-weaponized plutonium from
Yeah.
Croatia.
Right.
Mm.
Was it
That-
on the
that-
truck?
Yes, that truck he's driving so recklessly had plutonium on it.
He loses the
wow.
cab. The cab separates.
I was assuming the plutonium was in the cab. And I'm like, this has gone horribly wrong.
You know what you get when you assume, Gary. You
Driving
get,
down ravines.
you
he
get
goes over
having
the
to think about the
waterfall.
plot of this film. That's what you
You get
And
a
that's where we
radiated
start.
Croatians.
Wait, that's where we start. Then we do this time jump. Then he's got after Stavros, and again, an amalgamation of unidentifiable factions going against each other. Who is who? And
Yep.
then, because this is almost the
First of all, this is all within the first 15 minutes.
yes, and this
Yeah.
is the
Not
crescendo of the movie
So much happens in
in
the
the
first
first
15 minutes.
quarter.
They're in,
This
they're in
crescendo.
4 different countries
Yes.
And then the
In
baby,
10
the
minutes.
baby fights.
in 10 minutes.
The
And
baby
then we get a baby fight.
the baby fight.
Yes.
At
Let's
first, when they
talk
were
about the baby fight.
at first, I wanted to just talk about, they're fighting with hospital equipment bassinets. I just thought that was funny.
Nope.
At first, they're swinging the bassinets, and
Mhm.
no, there's actual babies.
Nope.
And Stavros
They're
Babies.
fighting with babies.
And then Stavros tries to blow up a baby with
Yes.
a grenade. If
Yes.
Van Damme did not notice the grenade in the bassinet, he would have blew up a baby. And he was mad because his son just died.
That's the
And then how
cheapest
did his
heat
son
of
die?
all time.
How did his son die? He was sitting there. He grabbed him. People are shooting. I don't know who's shooting where. I don't know who's shooting who.
They,
And all
they
of a
don't
sudden
really
it's
like who killed the kid. Like I don't really.
It
you
was.
know?
I know who
like
killed
it
the
was like
kid.
friendly fire. It just seemed
Was
like
it
everybody
Van
was
Damme?
shooting.
Was it
Nope.
Van Damme?
Nope. You're both wrong. It was a fucking tiger. If
The
you
tiger
watch
got to the
closely,
kid?
we watched it twice. If you watch closely, they're up against a tiger cage,
Yeah.
and the woman turns around and the tiger roars and does like a
Okay.
swipe?
But
and
because
if you look at her, you see the claw. I'm not kidding
I
you when I
thought
say
she
this.
caught
The
a
claws.
tranquilizer in her back. I'm dead
what's
ass
the point?
serious.
What's the point of having a red herring like that where you don't quite know how the kid dies? It makes no fucking sense.
Because then he grabbed the toy, and I was like, "The kid is dead."
Yeah, the kid died. Yeah, I mean, whatever. The kid's dead now, and it's like, well, you can look at it like Van Damme's actually the villain.
Whatever.
Yes.
The kid's
Yes, because
dead
he
now.
caused. Yeah,
This is what this
Van
movie
Damme-
tells us
Van
to
Damme
do.
he kills a fucking 6-year-old. It's
Kills
like,
him.
and
Yeah.
he's slipping on Coca-Colas, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's-
The first product
The first of
placement,
two incredible product placements.
two
he's
Coca-Cola product placements.
wait, he slips
yeah.
into a no shadow roundhouse kick because when
Yeah,
he
yeah,
slips,
Yes.
he goes
Yes.
into a kick.
Yes.
He slips onto the peak, like the ball of his foot, and spin kicks. Yeah, he kicks a dude
Yeah,
out of nowhere, and then
Oh.
is like ready for whatever action is coming his way.
Yeah.
yeah.
But, oh, you know what I did love? The little miniature when they were setting up in the beginning, and they
Uh-huh.
had the miniature of the amusement park, and they were like,
Yes.
Stavros is gonna be right there. He was like amusement park. I was like,
What was-
yo.
What was the most amazing thing Jean-Claude Van Damme did in this film, in your eyes?
That's a tough question, man.
It did. Look, you can take the rest of the episode if you need to, and come to it when you want to.
Oh, no, I think
I
the
really love-
basic
I-
the conversations with Rodman. Those are
yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
What is this?
The flattest dialogue.
Santa Claus? Are you Santa Claus for Bad Boys?
you're gonna mention bad. I always was sitting there, was like, is he gonna mention Bad Boys or Chuck Daly or
Mhm.
Whistles?
The scene I fucked with the most with Van Damme is when he clearly has beef with the guy that in the
The other agent.
it's just so
The colony,
they're
yeah.
both supposed to be dead that it's so on site that he's like, fuck you. Oh, I love it.
With that Dolph Lundgren stand-in.
Yeah, that was real beef. That was real beef. It's like, I thought you were
Yeah.
dead. I'm gonna try to kill you again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He's got like a crush, and he gets sucker punched by this Dolph
Yeah.
Lundgren lookalike for this moment.
No, he
On
looked
this
like one of the
island.
Die Hard villains. He
Yeah,
reminded me of
right?
Somebody from Die Hard, one of the Die Hards. I can't remember exactly which one. But
It's
yeah, so all of this is going on early in the game. Very early in the game. Then he gets knocked out. Well, he saves the baby, we think. He pushes the baby away from the grenade.
Right.
He throws the grenade into the elevator with the dead
Mhm.
orderly. holding the elevator doors
Yes.
open.
Yeah.
That only happened on screen. It blows up. He falls unconscious.
Yep.
And he wakes up on an island.
Mm-hmm. With an ultimatum.
Who came to get him? Why didn't Stavros kill him? What happened?
He woke up to an ultimatum immediately.
Yeah. Like he came to, and the TV was like, "Oh, word, you're awake."
Yeah, and it was like you've been excommunicado or something. Did that happen? So like,
you got two choices.
The actual explanation was really extraordinary because the second time I watched this, because we watched this twice
soft.
for the shows. They said he took him out of it because he was soft. Now keep in mind, this man had been retired for 3 years, as has been made clear. 3 years of retirement, which would make any agent soft. And then they send some Phil Hartman as lookalike to come in and convince him to come back and capture Stavros. Although his instructions are capture him alive, and then later says kill him. So they doesn't have clear instructions.
They say tranquilize him, but 2 shots will kill him, and 3 shots will kill an elephant.
Would kill an elephant. Which unfortunately all we had was a tiger, so unfortunately we couldn't really see that.
Then this agent gets trapped in his car.
He's killed like 2 minutes later.
But he locked himself in the car when Stavros said, "I left you something." He turns around in such a panic.
He's like, "Let me out."
He locked his door, and it wasn't power locks, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
it was a regular hand lock.
It's shown again and again in this film that explosions, uncomplicated, they just don't matter that much.
Yeah.
And then
you can just lay down, and fire will go over you.
Oh well, we're not going to ruin the moment that Dennis Rodman flips a coin and that explodes. Look,
yes,
please run away. Are you kidding me?
He locked himself in the car. They skimped on the sci-fi, but on the special effects budget because the explosion happens behind the car.
Right.
Anybody knows it happens way off behind the car, and then the car starts flipping.
It's true.
And then as Stavros keeps walking, they increase the black smoke. There's so much black smoke of this explosion.
Yeah.
So that agent is dead. And we think that was Van Damme.
And good. That guy sucked.
Yeah, I didn't like him.
Yeah, he was
fake Phil Hartman ass.
I didn't like him.
Yeah.
Van Damme tries to escape the colony with this montage.
Yeah.
Of working out.
Glorious montage.
Creating some Heisenberg, MacGyver fingerprint machine. And planning.
The most meaningful scene in the whole thing is that he knows instinctively, or maybe he's done it before, how to cut a fingerprint off of your body without either A, damaging it, or B, going so deep that you would bleed at all. You removed your skin and you're not bleeding. It ties into a theory that I'm working on.
Then he jumps into
Jean-Claude Van Damme and some other people in the film are superheroes.
Well, when he jumps into the water, the laser-filled waters.
Laser water.
That he had no time to plan for, but somehow he knows when they're going to turn off. He hits the water right before they turn off. He escapes right before they turn on, but the scuba guy that's under... Wait, he's fighting with a scuba diver.
So you're skipping over a very important detail to me.
But let me do this one, John.
Please.
He's fighting with a scuba diver.
Yes. Very important.
They're underwater. So they're already holding their breath. And the scuba diver has a respirator.
You're going to nail it.
And the scuba diver tries to kill him with a plastic bag to make him double suffocate because he's already holding his breath. So he's gonna double suffocate him by suffocate him again underwater with this plastic bag.
I'm losing it in my room, just so high watching this film. Like, what are you doing?
Oh my goodness, that took me out.
Yeah,
so good.
This whole plan of getting off of this island instead of using the terrorist people with all the equipment to get his wife and kid back.
So
he could have recruited.
Gotta go rogue.
He could have just told them.
Therein lies one of my favorite details of the film. That they took the most dangerous, computer savviest, worldly terrorists in the world, like the world, like celebrated when most of these people were killed. You know what I mean? And they were like, we're going to give you very few things that will like truly help you. One of them is full access to everything.
The databases and stuff. Yep.
You can just have it all.
Oh,
Don't try to escape now.
We got the lasers put in now.
Oh my goodness.
That was before we put in the lasers.
Yeah, only one guy got out.
Oh yeah, the one guy that made a break for
Guy
it.
got out, but that was
And
pre-lasers.
then that's when they put the lasers in.
Don't even think about it.
It's
Post-lasers.
just
Oh my goodness.
there's just so much absurdity that happens.
We didn't even
and
get
it's
to Dennis Rodman yet. Like, which
We-
I mean,
we only see
That's the first like 18 minutes right there.
yeah.
So
I mean,
much happens in this film.
you go from Croatia to southern France
Yep.
to Rome to Antwerp.
Antwerp, yeah.
Well,
this is the Bourne identity, and we didn't even know it yet. It's the
What about,
damn
wait,
identity.
Antwerp over Brussels, where Jean-Claude's from. Beef.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Antwerp must
Well,
be
the Antwerp
seedier.
is like it's weirder.
Fun
So
fact,
you
they
can
filmed
have
this,
like Rodman,
The
they
sex
filmed the
club.
colony
Yeah.
scene.
where
All the colony scenes are filmed at Jean-Claude Van Damme's timeshare
Mm.
in Spain because he was losing money on the
Mm.
I can't
timeshare.
breathe. I can't
It's
breathe.
true.
And I swear to God, the people in production said the best thing about film, they were all really glad that they filmed there. Why? Because he would leave them alone about it.
Yeah,
He just kept trying to sell them fucking
To
timeshares.
everyone, like, oh, it's the most beautiful timeshare. And
And it does
finally
look. It
one of them
does
was
look.
like,
It does look athenic. It does look very.
He
like,
yeah.
He wouldn't
It's
shut up
athenic.
about the timeshare.
but
Fine.
Jesus, I can. Oh, can you imagine working with him from all these things we hear about? Like you
No,
wait
it's
for the check at the end of the day, but it's such a nightmare when this guy comes walking in with his suggestions
Yes.
and
And
his,
his
and I'm not
his
even
phone
being
calls.
and I'm not even being patriotic, but his accent sometimes is just horrible. Buck account. Like, what is going on, yo?
What's crazy is that he has this very American name, Jack Quinn,
Jack
Quinn,
and he
yeah.
and he does nothing to mask the fact that he is from Belgium.
Yeah,
And
right.
then his antagonist is played by Mickey Rourke, who's given
Yep.
the name Stavros,
Yeah,
who couldn't be bothered to do anything other than his own voice
Yeah.
for that. So it's just like if you switch the two, then you'd have something that felt right.
So Stavros used to work for them, right?
Yes,
They
yes.
dropped that little gem.
Oh,
He used to be
counterterrorism.
He used to be counterterrorism.
Well, okay. If we're gonna dig into the past of Stavros, which
Mhm.
sick move giving him one name.
It's worth
Giving him
it.
one name,
That shit is dope.
mononym.
Stavros,
Stavros PremRock.
we don't. What did he do that was so bad?
Yeah, so I'm saying
I've
Like, we
I
lost a lot of civilian lives.
I have a
for
tough
this
time
dude.
believing like that he was a real villain for like the longest time. I'm
Mm.
like, I don't know. Like I see
All we know is Stavros bad. That's the only thing
Well,
they
that's all
can
it
tell
does,
us,
yeah.
that he worked for every single government.
Well, Prem is alluding to Jean-Claude killed.
Hey,
Stavros'
I can't get over
child.
this. Yeah, he killed a 6-year-old.
And this
man.
is
Come
what
on.
snapped him. He was just a
That's a
dude. He was just a dude that was trying to liberate people, and
No
then
women, no
all of a
children.
sudden, they killed his kid, and he was like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
hands away. I have to kill you all."
But was he there with an armed militia at the amusement park to see his
Yeah.
kid?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because he assumes that they're going to come after him. I guess what I'm getting confused about, and this is where I put this out to everybody, but I realize this is someone in vain. It's like, so he kills the fake Phil Hartman guy.
Yeah.
Who
Yes,
he knows
cold,
has
very
gone to
cold.
see Jack Quinn, right? He knows
Yes.
has gone to see Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, he said you brought Quinn back. Yeah, he said
Exactly.
He said you brought Quinn
So
back.
then why is he going to this
That set
amusement
himself up.
park
I don't
to see
know.
his kid in a public setting?
To
Why is
smoke
he
out
going
Quinn.
there to smoke
to
out
smoke
Quinn?
out Quinn.
Yeah, to
But
get
then
Quinn
he-
out.
But he's
think.
then puts his kid in harm's way.
Right.
Well, that's
And
crazy
his,
that
and
he
his
brought
wife,
his kid.
the
to-
mother of
yeah,
his child in harm's way.
And then the
That's
kid
right.
dies as a result.
And
Yeah,
the
no,
clown
also-
dies.
kind of crazy.
We lose a
Yeah,
clown.
that scene is very confusing. So that scene essentially is just like a gunfight musical because like everyone turns around and then has a gun and then they
Yes.
do the gunfight dance with each other.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that this movie is a musical
Ooh, wait.
and the music is war.
Oh, that's a great one, Jeff. Wait, Gary, to what you were saying,
And then I
Yeah.
really had a good time.
wasn't there moments, especially in the early Stavros Jean-Claude fight,
Mhm.
where they seem to have like powers, remember they would slow down as they were running, and they would
Yeah,
notice
no.
gunmen.
It kind of alluded to them like having like a bit of a bionic like ability to see them.
Yeah, like they have vision, and they would
Yeah.
see these because they were running. It seemed like they were preoccupied in front of them, but
Yeah.
then it would slow down, and they would see gunmen coming from the right and left peripheries.
Yeah.
Shoot them and keep going forward. An ability that never was brought up again in the movie.
Yeah.
Never brought up again.
Neither one of them did that again.
No.
It starts, I think, and you can tell me if you saw it earlier, but it starts with him recognizing the sniper.
Yes,
the woman.
Well, he shoots her right in the eye, which is
Right in the eye, like
Right
shoots
in
her
the
in the eye.
And
where
straight
he
from
stands.
pocket.
yes,
from
he didn't
pocket.
aim
Draw
nothing.
pow. Game set match before this
wait.
master marksman that can rip the dick off of a what was it?
Wait,
A
shooting
hummingbird.
a dick off a
Shoot the
hummingbird.
dick off a hummingbird.
Hummingbirds.
But wait. Here's the other thing that never.
Hummingbirds
they never
don't have dicks.
The reason he got the jump on the sniper was
Yeah.
Van Damme was like hiccuping, like he was like take the shot.
He
and he didn't want-
hesitated, yeah.
Oh well, I guess because
of the
was
kid.
there. But I thought they were shooting tranquilizers.
Right.
So
They're supposed to shoot
would that
tranks.
matter if he slumped in front of his kid or what was going on? And because he waited,
That's a great point.
he used the bionic powers and he shot the sniper. Sniper for remember, he reaches out the sniper. She's dead, homie. He
Yes.
reaches out for her. She's falling down the roof. And then all hell breaks loose.
to be fair to Quinn here,
What a play.
he did call it that they had the wrong target.
Yes, that part. I forgot
Yeah,
that
yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he actually got to the target, but then did not pull the trigger. That's true.
And how was he able to recognize that it was the wrong target?
He was
Left-handed.
eating. He got a hot dog with
Left-handed.
his right hand.
Left-handed.
Yeah.
And
He knew-
I
he
don't
knew
know-
Stavros was left-handed.
Yeah,
I don't know if you paid much attention to Mickey Rourke for the duration of the film, but he's either ambidextrous or just really likes to shoot and smoke with his right hand.
Yeah, wow.
So,
And wait, how did he determine that fake was not left or right? Because the guy just handed something to somebody.
he was
wasn't
getting like a hot dog. He was getting like a hot dog or something.
Oh,
Like
he's
that was.
definitely right hand. He grabbed that hot dog with his right hand. He's right hand.
I mean, like, look, Jack Quinn, Jean-Claude Van Damme is like the expert on Stavros. He is
Yeah.
considered like the
Okay, I
expert on
forgot that
the,
part.
Stavros.
Thank you.
the foremost expert on
Thank you.
So, like, what
expert
this
on
little bit
Stavros
of
in the world.
this little bit of expository info is useful in the scenario theoretically. It's like,
Well,
oh,
it's
it's not
you.
him. He's not there. I mean, I guess the fact that we go basically all this happens and then we switch to the colony, which again, the colony was the original script that this was based off of that
Right.
came out, was sold like I think a few years prior, and then this got rewritten and turned into something altogether different. So
Yeah,
sort
they
of
took
speeds up
out
the
pretty
colony
much
stuff.
everything about the colony except for him working out and like a few details that we would need later.
Him, the escape, pretty much the whole escape.
Yeah,
Pretty much
Instead
it.
of
Yeah.
him really,
Yeah.
because he only did. Remember, he did a couple of assignments with them, and he wouldn't keep his hand on the thing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then they asked his opinion. Remember, he was always right.
Yeah.
He's lying. He's lying. Something he said. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, he threw them off the trail of Stavros so he could go get him himself.
Oh yeah, he did do that on purpose. Yes.
The butterfly business. I have your butterfly
Yeah.
Right.
on the wall. The
Oh
message
wait,
that
let's
he
not
said to
forget
him.
that Stavros just warms up to his widow. She's
Yes.
not just
Right.
his ex-girlfriend. She's a widow because she thinks he's dead.
Yep.
Stavros just pops up out of nowhere. I'll take care of you and the baby. Who are you, man with the high collar? Like that's what he.
I mean, Mickey Rourke,
Yeah,
90s.
no, Prem, you're right. Yeah, he is. Yeah. There's that part too.
Different
Young Mickey
time.
Rourke, a little wink or two.
Yeah.
I'll go with
I
you.
mean, we're a bit far away from 9.5 weeks at this point when it comes to Mickey Rourke at this point in his career. So,
Dirty alley
um,
water, man.
but the whole like idea of like they seeded early on that she's an artist. And so he becomes a passionate patron of her art enough. So
Well, how
that he's
does
like,
how did Stavros know that Quinn was still alive in the colony?
that's an excellent question. How
Okay.
did he know that this guy, Quinn, is basically said to be dead, right?
And then he
said
just
he's
puts
dead.
out a subliminal message.
Because Stavros
on
is
the
the
wall.
only one who knows, other than the people that like cleaned him up. The U.S. government knows, the Shadow Organization knows,
Mhm.
Okay.
but he's the one that left a sliver of hope for him to live, and he knows. I think he knows that like that sliver of hope is too much.
Oh, when you leave somebody like that,
Yeah,
that they'll come
like
in
look, I
and
put you
swoop
in a
and
rock and a
disappear.
hard place, but you know how to get out of that. So I bet you they put his ass on that island, and he's going to come find me.
That's a good point, Joe. That's a good point. I didn't
I
think
mean,
about it.
if he's as
If anybody
if he's
would
as
know-
diabolical as I'm led to
Well,
believe,
if anybody would know
with
about
no
this cleanup
backstory.
with the cleanup crew
None.
and
Yeah,
the disappearers,
exactly.
then Stavros would know.
Like this is Kaiser Soze. So like I believe
Yeah.
any story about Kaiser Soze.
So I have to assume that somebody who's as experienced as Jack Quinn and has the sort of connections and understanding he has many people he could go to for weapons
Mm.
and for
He needs a
tactical
wild card,
gear.
Gary.
But
He
did he
needs-
He
even
needs a
know
wild card, Gary.
that Yaz had the weapons? Or because he
Yes.
looked like he didn't.
Yes, he had
Okay.
been there before.
Yes, only because he'd been there once before ahead of
Yeah.
the mission that ultimately failed.
A
he'd
scene
been
in
there-
which he opens up an explosive.
Mhm.
Dennis Rodman calmly says, "Get down," throws the explosive away, and the explosion happens
Over them.
somehow like a level above them,
Yes,
like intense heat and
Yes,
flames.
It flies up.
Just
So
went
wait,
in a
he went, because
which
I made
never
my
happens.
timeline is wrong.
And then they were like, "Everyone's fine."
So he went there before he did the Stavros mission,
Yes.
and then he went
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Okay,
he-
gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's where all the
Remember, that's in the first 15 minutes. Too.
Yeah. It's just a lot of things stacked
It's
on each other. so-
insanity. There's no way to keep up with this film.
What does
It
he
is
say? He
a
goes-
breakneck speed.
Who does your hair? And he goes, last person who talked about my hair, his head is still up his ass. He goes, I didn't ask about your love life.
He did say that.
The best line of the film.
there is a certain like terribleness to the way that they interact in the sort of the buddy
Wait, first
action
off, you have to
thing.
start with Van Damme is wearing the Captain America. I'm in disguise with your hat and the flight jacket. I just noticed. I was like, okay, nobody noticed you. You're wearing black and you're talking with a little deeper voice.
It's
Okay,
like, isn't that what he wore in Street Fighter a few years earlier?
and then wait. We also have something else in the contract.
Mhm.
He runs into Dennis Rodman on a chair getting a tattoo. Of course, he has tattoos.
Yeah.
Then he explains a few tattoos, and then the sultry, and this is my favorite, the belly tattoo.
Yes.
Hmm.
Like, why did we
Well,
have
he's
to know?
getting a belly tattoo, except that it's not working.
Or somebody
and
knocked it.
he
I
just
think.
stops in the middle. It's
So
like,
doesn't
"Excuse me."
Jean-Claude knock it over or something? Somebody knocks it over, and he goes, "Oh, that
Yeah.
hurt." He's like, "No, that didn't hurt," or something.
And then he pulls out his tongue and he goes, "That hurt."
That hurt. Yes.
He sticks out his tongue to show some gaping, nasty looking. I'm
Oh
assuming.
wait, did
it's
you see
supposed
those
to be a tattoo.
sunglasses that are made out of like fucking landfill metal? Did you see those sunglasses?
Fucking, it's like, who made these things? Like, this is like, these are crazy.
I will say
movies.
this. I will say this. Now, there's a little time thing because Fifth
Uh-huh.
Element came out much later.
Not much
But-
later. Same year. Same year.
I feel like Dennis was doing a Roddy Rod impression.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong.
In
I
a
don't think
sense.
that's wrong.
Okay. I didn't know if I was.
I would also just say that probably that's giving Rodman too much credit for doing any sort of
to watch another
to do any sort of
performance.
acting whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because this is
Referencing back to something. No, he just walked into every scene and was like, "I'm just going to say the line."
I'm
Oh,
going to
no,
say
no.
the
I'm going to
basketball
say a
final.
line, and then I want you to reference my basketball career. Say
Exactly.
Bad
Yeah.
Boys. Say I thought I was going to get thrown out of the game. Say
Yeah,
how much is that fine
going to be.
That should be a 5-pointer.
I've been
How-
secretly trying to get basketball movies into the podcast.
Not secretly.
Maybe not so secretly at this
Not
point.
secretly.
And I definitely tricked Gary on this one. There's a lot of stupid basketball references.
Yeah.
To which I have
now
to bring up
that's
the fact
now that's
that
what
they
I call
jumped out of
hang
a-
time.
they jumped out of a
Yes.
plane
Yes,
and came together to
and an
form
an
a
inflated.
giant rubber inflated basketball.
It didn't bounce.
And then they rolled
bounce.
onto the ground.
the
from
ball did
air.
not bounce.
Didn't
It just
bounce.
landed.
It just
And it was very
rolled a little
thin.
bit, and then they got out and were like,
Wait, then they
arguing.
argued. They had an argument. You're
Yes.
crazy, man. You're crazy. What happened between the plane and the ground that made
Like-
Jean-Claude any crazier? Because he's been crazy. That's
Yeah.
what
"Threw
you
you out of a plane."
Jean-Claude
yeah.
is crazy. She's
To
saying
bring
Jean-Claude
point, he has
crazy.
been the one off the hook out of all the characters. Stavros Rodman, Jean-Claude is off the chain. He's been
Yes.
off the plant.
Oh,
hook.
yes.
But what I don't understand is like, so he's calling Jean-Claude crazy, but this basketball parachute thing was Rodman's
untested.
invention.
And untested. He
Untested.
said, I made
Untested.
it. He said, did you test it? He said, no, I made it.
Why not just have
It-
parachutes?
If you don't instill a sense of trust in someone, then you can't really become buddies.
Yeah, you
But
got to
they
go through.
jumped
You've gotta
out of
trust-
a
you-
parachute
Yeah.
plane.
No,
They
you
jumped
he
out of a
pushed him.
plane.
gotta
No, John
test-
Claude pushed him
Yes.
out of the plane. He pushed
But you
Rodman
got
out
to
of the plane.
test the
Yes, got
basketball to
pushed.
make sure it works. If it works, you've got a trust fall for life,
This is Schrodinger's
and
cat.
you know that you're actually dealing with a
This is-
creative genius.
Dealing with Rodman's inventions is Schrodinger's cat. You're dead and alive at the same time.
Exactly.
And they were flying in the plane.
Take your
that
chances, rip something.
They were literally flying in a plane. Those planes, you parachute out of. Those are the planes that you do. Like that's the exact planes.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
They're hanging out the side of it, getting ready to jump, and you're like, why are they doing this basketball thing rather than parachutes?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think the way one thing we have to look at this is like, yes, there's the basketball stuff that goes on that in terms of references and dialogue, but you're dealing with the absurdity that you get from Hong Kong style action films. And that's what's happening here. That's really a lot of what's happening here. Is like if you watch and the director of this film, Hark Tsui, I think he's here as Tsui Hark, so I see it both ways. But Hark Tsui was an accomplished Hong Kong-based director of action movies, of the kind of wuxia period films as well. Like he had done a number of these things. This was like John Woo before him. He then was now coming over to the US to try his hand at an English language thing. And he brought that Hong Kong sensibility with him. And so you see some of these choices and some of these decisions, like the baby fights, like the number of explosions, like how many windows are broken over the course of this film.
And the fight,
broken glass.
Remember when he was fighting Stavros and Stavros kept punching him into
Just throw
different
into windows.
partitions, and there were all these partitions that were made
How
of
did he
glass.
break every partition? Like every
Stavros at some point reaches through a plate glass window
Grab
to
him.
smash a dude through the plate glass window so he could pick him up better to throw him through a plate glass window
So Gary, I'm so glad you
in the
pointed
same
out
motion.
the Hong Kong over sensationalism. It reminds me of like there's certain sound effect choices that movies make, and you're like, I didn't need that to sell. The classic one is in The Matrix during the Burly Brawl. At the end, he throws Smith into Smith's, and they use a bowling ball sound.
Yes.
Like a bowling ball knocking into bowling
pins
as he falls. Now, mind you, they are in a computer program. It has been like over-explained that that's kind of supposed to be the deal.
Sure.
But when you're watching it and you're into the actual punch sounds and kick sounds and wind sounds and people throwing in, and then they just throw in bowling pins. Why? Well, we're dramatizing, whatever. It's like like Roadrunner and the Coyote, you know what I'm saying? Like when they fall, the extra explosions. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Roadrunner Coyote. Like there's a little extra. He hangs in the air before he falls. You hear music being played, like all the little extra things that will push an action to sell it. But you don't need to sell it because we're looking at it. So I don't need an explosion inside of another explosion. But they see the Russian dolls of explosions.
Yeah, there's this penchant for excess that goes on in all these films, and it's like they just work with what they work with. Like you have to see the beauty of the action choreography that goes on in this stuff. So you have to have absurd things like multiple broken window fights and the baby bombs and all these things. But then it's also just like all these choices that get made so that you get towards the end, and it's here they are in a minefield.
Oh my goodness,
with a tiger.
With a tiger.
In an amphitheater in France. This was filmed in France.
Listen, I understand that it's a bad film, but this movie absolutely rips.
The movie went for
you everything.
Wait, they're in a coliseum because the explosion it's a hollow coliseum,
right? Yes,
with the tiger, a minefield, crosses and stuff.
Yes,
listen. The way that it went.
The baby was in a basket. The baby was there,
and the
baby was there.
The baby, and they stashed the baby, in the catacombs full of skulls and bones underneath.
Right. Safekeeping.
And that tiger kept looking for that baby. That tiger wanted a taste of baby.
Babies in this film really they take a beating.
This had to be before the laws were changed. This film
doesn't particularly care about human life, but babies, specifically babies, they hate.
Remember when he tried to trap Quinn with the fake baby and it was a bomb?
Yes, in the house,
yes. Absolutely.
The
And then
fake
wait,
mom, the fake
he
baby.
jumps from that bomb. He gets outside, Quinn.
Okay.
Yes.
Then they throw another like bomb at him in the pool. He
yes.
jumps away from that one. It's like
First and foremost, he is engulfed in flames in the first explosion. It
Yes.
fully
and he
engulfed.
rolls-
You
and he
cannot
rolls- yes.
see
Yep.
him versus flame. You
And he
can't see
rolls
him
out,
anymore.
But he flies out the window. Then they throw another
Gets
thing at
away
him.
from that, rolls over a truck perfectly,
Oh, the truck explodes. Yes,
lands-
and then the truck
Yeah, yeah.
explodes.
and then
creates
he
another explosion.
lands. There's an explosion going on behind him.
Oh, wait, yes.
and
Keep
he's
going,
like
Jeff. Keep going.
ready to keep it, and he's ready
Wait,
to
he
kick
lands
ass
on a floating device,
Yeah.
shooting backwards. Don't forget that. When he
Yep.
lands on the floating device, shooting
Mhm.
backwards.
He lands in
Yes.
perfect motion and is like pop, pop, pop.
Then he rolls
Dead
into
dudes.
the pool because the explosion is still coming towards
Yeah.
him. Then the truck
Superhero
explosion.
shit.
Oh my goodness. I
He's
get
a,
exhausted.
he's a
just explaining-
superhero.
Just explaining it. This is incredible.
And so it should stand to perfect reason, if he's a superhero, that his progeny too would have like superpowers, like say hiding behind a Coke vending machine to withstand a 16 megaton blast.
Mm.
The fire, it wasn't just one big burst and then the fire died. The fire is shooting towards them.
They're
and
turning
Rodman-
white hot like
And
magma.
Rodman is holding the most indestructible Coca-Cola machine I've ever. Now they do kind of last. If you know, go to some road stops. There's a lot like there's one chain in front of it, and some
They
of
are
those
pretty
machines.
powerful.
Some of those machines have been there for many a road trip.
Oh,
I say
yeah.
the same machine. I'm like, yo, this machine's still here kicking. It has like
You kind of want to dap it up, like good job.
well, it has RC Cola still in it. I don't know who knows these things, but it's still, you know, the open. So you got to give it up for the soda machine. But I'm not.
Fair.
That's what I used to remember constantly about the movie was Rodman holding the Coca-Cola machine. Mind you, there was a line of machines. There was a Diet Coke
there's a bunch of
machine.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of them, but there was 4 Coke machines at the end. It didn't totally go. Incredible idea. Like
was that
somebody
the-
wrote that in the shot chart.
There was
Yeah.
two product placement ones, right? Where he slips on the Coke can and doesn't you know,
Yeah.
the double
And then
mouth.
that one.
Yeah, that's it, right? There wasn't any more that I missed.
There was
No, that was-
also
The other one
the-
is Omega.
the watches.
The
at
watches.
colony.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because I did tell Prem before, and I said the product placement is like disgusting
Yeah.
in it,
Yeah, yeah.
and he thought it'd be a little bit
Yeah.
more.
This movie made money.
It made money. It made enough money
Not
worldwide.
not in America, it didn't.
But in
Okay,
America,
one of those.
it
You know,
it failed
don't you love
here.
those?
I just
You
saw.
love
I saw
those?
that it
I
grossed.
do love them.
I saw
It
that
got
it
back.
grossed.
It got back half its budget in America.
Okay.
I love seeing those because those are the ones that I have on DVD and VHS. The ones that didn't do well domestically, but then internationally, there's
Yeah.
the burst, and then the home video sales and the stuff that I bootleg. Then,
Yeah, man.
Then you look at the full gross of everything. A lot of good bad movies exist in that.
I want to take a step back because I guess for those who haven't caught on, both Jeff and Castro had seen this film previously.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's
When I was a
me,
teen.
and then
Yeah.
there's myself and PremRock, who this was both of our first times. Yeah.
Flying blind.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome to the party.
Welcome.
So
Yeah, welcome to the club. This is a really cool club to be a part
It
of
is.
because you never talk about it.
Do you
again.
do you remember? Do you remember where and when you watched it?
Absolutely. I was at my
I
dad's house.
Okay.
I was watching HBO on a Saturday night. They had a new movie every Saturday night. And whenever I stayed with my dad, that was what was going down. Was we
Double
were going to
team.
watch the Saturday night movie. And
Wow.
that week, I think either it was a premiere or it was a later movie, but we watched it together more than once. And both times we're like, this movie's bad, but
Yes.
what else are you going to do?
What else you gonna do?
We're just hanging out.
I was a steady customer of bootlegs,
Mm.
VHS at first, and then the DVD.
Oh, the double
And
team
then-
bootleg.
But what you can get with them though is the good 3 for $10.
okay.
Mhm.
Right. So I had a
mhm.
haggle going. So I would always get like maybe one movie I seen before, and two, what's this? Just grab 'em. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And definitely I was such a basketball fan. There's no way I was skipping like owning this. And we'd see, I'm probably off with the timeline, but Time Cop, and I love Bloodsport, even though I thought Paco should have won. this one.
Absolutely.
Bloodsport's-
Agree on
Bloodsport's
both
a
counts.
good-
Yeah,
Bloodsport.
Paco not Frank. Well, Bloodsport is a big lie, but it's just great. It's a great,
Yeah, it's an excellent bad movie. I love that movie.
But so I'm into, you're into Van Damme. You just check out what he does, and he's doing bad stuff like Cyborg and all that stuff. And then I remember this dropping, and this is probably, what year is this again?
97.
97.
So this is right in the mix of Rodman's popularity height, being on the Bulls. And everybody, all eyes on him. So that's what the whole hair is. He probably married himself before the movie started shooting.
Yeah. And
it was just like such an oddity. And again, this is Rodman's second movie. So his popularity height. And it just seems such an odd pairing, Van Damme and Rodman. Just like, what are we doing here?
Two dudes that could absolutely benefit from the other one being anyone else in Hollywood.
Exactly. And then
anyone with any more experience to come in and like make that a movie.
They would have messed it up.
Who did they originally cast? They wanted Wesley Snipes.
Wesley and Rodman? Or Wesley was supposed
as
to
Rodman, as the Rodman cast originally.
Rodman was not the first choice.
Okay.
This is before all the basketball rewrites, obviously.
That's what I was going to say, because then they named it Double Team and put all the remember he shot the skull to blow up the thing. Don't forget about that.
Can't forget that.
They're going to blame this all on me because he was the
at the very end he says that
the blamable player in the NBA.
And then he mentions, I wonder what the fine for this will be. He's looking at the Coliseum.
Just one more time, staring right at the camera, basically going, I'm a basketball player, right?
With no shirt. I think he had lost his shirt.
Did you know I was a basketball player?
Okay, so there's one thing, like, obviously we're not we can't really harp on character development, but Rodman so quick to join the fucking fight when he finds out he's got your kid. Why didn't you say
because he wanted to get paid at first. He was
why
like,
didn't you say so from the jump? Van Damme's like, well, why do you care? It's like, well, yeah, no shit. Why would he care? He's a fucking arms dealer in fucking Antwerp sex club. Like, he's got a soft spot for a missing kid. Like,
Antwerp sex club.
You know what? He can
No, it's an Antwerp sex club. You said it absolutely right. There's no disputing that.
Oh, because the girls,
the girls underwater with gas masks. In the bondage gear and the gas
and I
masks.
cannot say with any type of certainty that those are women. They looked androgynous.
No.
Like, I think
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. Let's not gender any of these people. Let's not misgender anybody.
They were wearing onesies. They were wearing onesies underwater.
Yeah.
It supports my theory that Dennis Rodman, both in this film and life, sort of lives in a future world that we're not privy to.
Okay, he knows some things. It's coming.
He's just like way ahead of us. He's way ahead of us. He's like, whoa.
He can taste colors.
You're worried about all the wrong things.
You're focused on the wrong things. I'm here over there. I'm shaving my genitals.
Dystopian future that we have not lived through yet.
I'm shaving my genitals clean, and y'all are calling me weird. But and in 2025 and 2025.
That's right. You gonna know what this is about.
It'll be the next
futurist, man, for sure, no doubt.
That's why he was like arms dealer, the arms person in Men in Black.
Was it?
You know what I'm saying? Like he had this wild futuristic weapon display that he was also building himself
and modified for tranquilizer.
Right?
Did he know that they needed tranquilizers before he modified it for tranquilizer? All of these things, he's clairvoyant.
No, he just was like, he's exactly
clairvoyant,
precisely.
Yeah, he just knows.
A living crystal ball, Dennis Rodman.
If you listen to him talk in the media in his heyday of playing basketball, similar results. He's talking about something else entirely than what they're asking. All I'm saying.
I will say, though, that regardless of whatever plane of existence he happens to be operating on, he's made some pretty bad choices when it comes to movie roles. This being one of them. The follow-up to this movie I watched last night. There's like two paths diverge after this. So Jean-Claude Van Damme does another film after this one with the same director, with Hark Tsui, called Knockoff, where he is
the hockey one?
No, this is the counterfeit jeans one.
I don't know.
So it's Jean-Claude Van Damme opposite Rob Schneider.
Wow.
Damn.
So that's what happens next. Rodman, his next film, he works with a different director called Simon Says is the name of that film. I watched that last night. And after I watched my second viewing of Double Team.
And he's like the main actor now. He's like the lead.
He's the star of that movie.
Wow.
And he is opposite Dane Cook.
What?
Dennis Rodman and Dane Cook.
My memory is black. That wow. I watched that movie, and my memory is black that Dane Cook is the.
That's insanity.
Dane Cook is so hacky in that film. You start to realize that Rodman doesn't have any lines. He's the straight man in the film. He's just like, all right, guys, let's get serious.
Yeah,
like, we got to stop it.
Oh, so is that like DMX's turn? Because remember in the first, with Jet Li, he's one way, and then in the next film, he's like a computer genius kung fu master.
Sure,
right?
Exactly.
just that quick.
Like,
so y'all ain't gonna make me just a background character in the next movie. I knew he probably said that to him. I'm gonna
so he got to be the star.
Pretty decent DMX.
Rest in peace.
So Rodman got to be the star of the next film, and it's it's absurd. He's surrounded by caricatures, and it's more of what Simon says is more what I expected Double Team to be, which I've come into Double Team having not seen it, just expecting it to be sort of the like, here's some exposition, cool action sequence, here's some more exposition, story moves along, more action sequence, build up to awesome final fight scene sort of thing, which a lot of these films do. This film, because it is cramming in the colony script and all these other ideas, you end up with something that is just like so frenetic and hard to process watching it. Like, I lose key details.
Yeah.
I watched it yesterday and the day before. Well, I admit the first time I watched it, I was incredibly high. But like the second time watching it, I just turned on the captions so that I could see some of the dialogue to get a sense of maybe if I could have a better sense of what everybody's done. But the truth is like so much happens in this film that my brain couldn't process. I still had to go back and rewatch the basketball from the sky scene, basketball parachute scene again, because I just couldn't fathom what had actually happened. I still don't know how the basketball forms around them. I still don't know how it kept them safe in any way. I don't understand why Jean-Claude Van Damme pushes Rodman off of the plane and then takes a couple beats and then goes down after him. Like, there's just so much about this film that happens.
There's a lot of it is really bizarre. And I want to
don't forget the remember, everybody at the colony has what a handle or a mirror, and they're responsible for their other person. And then at the end
Guardian Angel
of the movie, his mirror pops up, helps him, and then claims that then wants a piece of his hair and his clothing. We hadn't seen him for about an hour.
Right.
No.
We hadn't seen him tracking him. We hadn't seen him like, okay, you got out the colony. I'm on mission. They're sending me out. They turned the water lasers off, and they're sending me out to go get you because that's my
that
obligation.
was skipped over. He just was out.
I took my watch off. I set the watch to locate you because we have satellite access. We can access satellites. And next thing you know, he just walks out the Coliseum post-explosion.
Right.
He comes through the Coliseum after it blew up.
Superheroes.
Because he helps. And then after it blew up, he walks through. Superheroes. Superheroes. I'm totally with y'all.
Superheroes.
I'm totally with y'all. Superheroes.
You think for 1 second that the giant explosion that Mickey Rourke was in the middle of killed Mickey Rourke's character Stavros?
Yeah, as he was getting eaten by the tiger.
He did that shit to get rid of the tiger.
By tiger.
Yeah.
His whole family, as far as I'm concerned, his whole family, him included, got eaten by tigers. Got attacked.
It's Stavros and the tiger on the colony now? Did they get disappeared? Is the tiger sitting in the room with his paw on the thing with the headset?
Is it a superhero tiger? I don't know.
Are we about to write the screenplay for Triple Team?
Yeah.
Are we about to do this?
Yeah.
With the tiger, yo.
What do you think? You need to add another. If it's Triple Team, you need to add another character.
Yes.
LeBron James. He loves being in movies.
LeBron would never do a movie with
Ron Artest, maybe. You need another.
No. LeBron takes the place of Dennis in this.
Yeah.
No, you need to bring Dennis
Dennis
Rodman back.
All right,
He can be like in a scene or something. Sure.
No, I'm voting for Dennis and Ron Artest. That's what I'm voting for.
Can we grade his? Can we give Rodman any props on his acting? In terms of
because
if you want.
Well, I'm athletes.
Well, I'm with you, Prem. If we put it up with other athletes, Shaq delivered his lines horribly, but it's the line delivery. But it's not just the line delivery. It's how many times I can squint my eyes and notice you dubbed these lines, and I'm still looking at your face. So you did the line. It's not like you had a turn on the side, as we know.
No, pretty bad.
When your head is facing another way, and they say, "Well, just do that line better," and because we can't tell with the lips, but you're looking at me, and I'm listening to you dubbed yourself with basic lines. Come on,
Yeah.
Quinn. Let's do this. And I'm watching you dub your own lines. Oh,
There's at least one instance where the dubbed line doesn't match up to Rodman moving his mouth at all.
No, not at all.
Of course.
Like it's just,
but
words
like
are coming.
He did the whole thing. And I've noticed actors have done it. Sometimes they'll call you back in to do drops and all that stuff. But it seemed like he did whole stretches to give like some better performance than maybe on set that day with the boom mic.
Rodman is a quiet human. And I bet that they weren't really even like everybody else is like shouting over guns
so you think
and
they had
explosions
to,
and shit.
to,
I
like,
think he had to go in and
his thing
deliver
up.
the
Yeah.
lines.
He had to, I think you had to have, I think it's probably a combination of the two, of both of what you're saying. I think he's exactly the kind of person who needs to go in for looping. He has to go back in and do this stuff again.
Because he's not a professional. Let's just give him credit.
No.
So he probably doesn't know when we're on set how to say it with a boom mic might catch a good performance.
Again,
as opposed to
something where a person who had acted previously in the opposite role would have been here. We're like, oh, here, do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here's the way to do this. Instead, it's Jean-Claude, and he's like,
oh my God, Jean-Claude is the one telling him how to give lines.
Yeah, and so he's just like tapping people on the shoulder to talk about his fucking timeshare.
That's his fucking think about
and not actually doing anything.
Then we do need to give Dennis Rodman some grace, because look who his scene partner is.
No,
his scene partner is awful.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to look for. I'm trying to give him a little something here.
I'm with you, Prem. We're all with
you.
It's
a tough film to get
very
through.
compelling argument considering who. Like this is not De Niro and Pacino sitting across each other in a coffee shop.
This isn't even Bugs Bunny opposite Michael Jordan.
This is classic. I mean, it's Jean-Claude. He's mispronouncing any word he possibly can.
Yes.
Probably
not in a cute
I
way.
can't say he's probably going to communicate his ideas with effective grace.
Oh, and we know
with someone he's just going to yell at you or something.
We know through hindsight and
or complain
and revelations and behind the scenes, but we come to find out he's a nightmare.
Yes.
On set. Like he's and then not just
We
a
know
nightmare
that.
like Brando per se, forgetting lines. No, he always wants to interject things, change scenes, but you're not good at it. You're not Vince Vaughn. So you're not Vince Vaughn. So, but you want to, oh, no, we should do it here. And I come in over this and I do this pirouette. Like you want to change the scenes like you have some foresight. Oh my goodness. I can imagine. There's probably
you think
novels of stuff.
Do you think the bathroom, the bathtub weightlifting scene was improvised by him?
I think that was he doesn't even have ropes. He's using like a towel twisted around his neck.
Right.
And wait, he fills up the tub. Don't forget that part. Like the tub.
That's how he gets weight. That's how he lifts weight.
He's lifting it up. His room is highly monitored.
Yeah.
But nobody is noticing him destroying this bathroom with this rehab.
Does he not have a downstairs neighbor? There's no downstairs neighbor. There's no next door neighbor to be like, keep it down in there.
Because he's banging that bathtub.
And
making horrible noises himself.
I want to say
and faces. And his faces.
Oh, yes.
The faces? What? Oh, my goodness.
The faces
the
of
shot
death.
of his back with all the cuts and scratches on it.
Uh-huh.
We're like, don't forget, he's been injured before.
Yeah.
But wait.
That makes this more incredible.
He also was slowing his recovery to everybody else. Remember, he was still kind of walking around with the limp.
With the crutch.
Doing all of that. Oh, my goodness. Doing that Maester. I can't remember his name now. But the Maester who used to fake it in Game of Thrones. Oh,
this movie is so bizarre. It's
bizarre. It seems like, for all intents and purposes, many movies we'll watch, this is a movie paint by numbers. Like there should be no ruffles in this movie. We've seen it a million times.
It's so easy to watch to make a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
It's been written.
Yeah. You just say no to Jean-Claude Van Damme and you make a movie.
Yes.
And instead, they didn't. They certainly didn't do any of that. So we didn't get a movie. We got a fever dream. I think.
Do we think that Jean-Claude thinks this is like a good movie? Like, did he plays for his friends when they come over? Like,
I mean, he could have that. He could be that delusional where he's like, everything I did is good, but he has to now.
That's a dude that I would believe pretty much any story you told me about him.
Yeah.
Well, he did do JVD, and that was very self-referential when he did.
So
at that stage in his
might
career,
know.
I think too. At that stage in his career too, I think in 1997, you probably couldn't tell him a damn thing.
No,
Right.
Probably,
I think you're dealing with the worst of him at that point. And in 97 is probably hard because you got to keep in mind, like now he's had a string of things that didn't work.
Right.
And
Right. So he's
panicking.
So he's trying to prove people wrong, and he's still sticking to his guns with his.
He's
weirs.
panicking over losing some money on his timeshare. Which
It's
like,
that
how
part too.
timeshares work?
He's up the creek without a giant basketball.
I'm just saying, if you go after 1997, you start to look at the other movies he did after them. You stop recognizing these films. You stop recognizing what he
They
did.
don't even remember these things.
You're like, what was this?
And we always forget straight to video and straight to.
Yeah,
like you don't recall that those things went straight, regardless of what era it is. You kind of just
right.
Yeah, if you saw it, especially in your formative years, if you saw something,
yes,
you just assumed that it was in the theater and you
At some
weren't allowed
point.
to go.
because
Yeah.
also there was a quick rope on some movies. Like they would be there for about 2 weeks, and if that second week wasn't bubbling,
And then they
they'd
were like,
pull it
"Yo,
down.
HBO, Cinemax, who's interested?"
Who wants? Yeah, because I remember when they started skipping the pay-per-view scheduling. Remember it would be in the theaters, then it would go to pay-per-view
right.
for a while.
Then the blockbusters.
Yep. And
the
then
world.
it would find itself on a cable channel or a broadcast. Because I remember when Jurassic Park went straight to NBC, skipped everything. I remember that. That was big.
Yeah,
that was
that's
a
a
big,
point.
big
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah, no, it's interesting because like it is sort of the beginning of that model. And unlike, say, Steven Seagal, who managed to eke out some more success into the early 2000s by partnering by basically like with like Exit Wounds, we're seeing at this sort of the end of this sort of run for this particular thing. And what happens really at the end of this period that's really interesting is this is when a lot of the actors from these Hong Kong action films come here.
Oh, okay.
So like John Woo and Jackie Chan got here first. They came here first.
Yeah.
But like this is when you get like in the late 90s, that's when you start getting the Jet Li movies.
Don't ask me why. I was like, Rumble in the Bronx. It's not in the Bronx. So what am I missing? Like I know what the Bronx looks like. And I was like, that's not the Bronx. But okay. No. Like, anyway, go ahead.
If you see the films that these guys did before they came over here, a film like Double Team, it doesn't make sense, but you start to understand why the choices are what they are because there's the absurdity there. And so it's an interesting thing where it's like they were trying to take that sensibility, that Hong Kong sensibility, and apply that to these English language films. And then in the end, it was just like, well, let's just bring over the guys. Like, let's just bring over our people and have them do it. The people who've been making these movies with, they had to dub the shit out of Jet Li stuff, like, because he was not, proficient in English by any stretch. So, like, you see, if you want to talk about dubbing in these English language Jet Li films that came out in like the late 90s, like, yeah, that's definitely a factor. But yeah, it's interesting.
There's a certain level to it where like English is Rodman's first language.
Right. So he just doesn't know.
I don't know if it was his only. I'm not going to.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
But certainly he knew it.
We know he's a novice in movies per se.
Right.
But he's done a million commercials.
Yeah.
He's been behind the camera a lot more than we're remembering. I mean,
he's
even
on
if you're doing the car
pretty much
dealership,
24 hours a day.
That part.
At that point, he was like celebrity outside of basketball too.
But just doing post-game interviews, doing the like that
He
local car dealership that you do when you first get to a team. They do that. They say, okay, say I like these burgers and these cars. You know what I'm saying? Though he's not a novice to being behind a camera. Now, line delivery, who knows? But it just it seemed like he should be a little more savvy.
Yeah.
Of all the bizarre things that happen in this film, this centers around Rodman, this statement. Of all of the bizarre things, even more bizarre than the guy who has a knife in his toes.
Oh, I forgot about that.
For no fucking reason.
Yeah,
we can get back to bookmark that real quick so I can finish the stuff. We'll come back to that bullshit. But the most bizarre might be that Crystal Waters?
Crystal Waters, yeah.
Crystal Waters has a song at the end of this film on the soundtrack with Dennis Rodman in.
Yes, that is him. So
And
they
so
play
that-
that in the credits. Prem, did you listen to that? I didn't think that was Rodman.
It's Rodman.
Wow.
I did not listen to it.
He had 4 lines, and
In the beginning of the song.
Somebody asked Crystal Waters about it in an interview years later, and she said some A&R brought up the idea or something to the like, my A&R this was his brilliant idea. The guy came in with a gigantic entourage and we were there all day for him to deliver four lines.
Yeah. He's like right at the top of the song. So when you listen, when you watch the credits, if you ever dare to, he's like the first voice. And it's ironic because I just found, and I didn't even know this existed, Scottie Pippen's like rap song. I didn't know rap song. I just found it like a little while ago. So here is just deep Bulls knowledge. Deep Bulls knowledge. This is crazy.
It's an awful song.
They were in Croatia.
It's truly terrible.
They're in Croatia, and Tony Kukoc didn't get a call.
Damn.
A little homerism.
Damn.
He didn't have Rodman's cachet, man. I mean, Rodman's marrying himself with Harley bikes. Like,
Kukoc as a random villain in Croatia.
That would have been great. If Kukoc popped up in the movie, I think I would have stood up. I would have stood up and started clapping because this if anything could go great.
How many points on Rotten Tomatoes? This was an 11. How many points on Rotten Tomatoes is Kukoc worth, do you think? Is that like Kukoc, 2? What's his war on here?
That makes it a 15 at least.
That's making it 15. That's what I'm saying. That takes you up there.
15.
Just how clever
that is. He's a +4. He's a +4 if he's in the I love
on the court. He's a +4, no doubt.
How tongue in cheek that would be, and how tongue in cheek that would be, and they could have made a reference to him taking a final shot and Pippen not wanting to come into the game.
Yeah,
Rodman would have loved that.
I took the final shot. Man, this movie's awesome. I love this movie.
The dialogue. Think about it. Rodman delivering bad lines and Jean-Claude Van Damme
is his
scene dramatic.
Ask about your sex life.
Your sex life. He thought he was so clever. Jeff, he thought he nailed that line when he delivered.
He loved it. It came off the tongue like the best line he may have ever delivered, and it was still trash.
It's garbage.
Oh my goodness.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.